good.
You good?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Until I'm not, I guess.
Rock it till the wheels fall off.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm good. You know, I had to clear some space out on my hard drive too. Apparently, we talk a lot, so
yeah.
I had to empty out the hard drive a little bit, and I'm hoping that we don't get really, really big, so people aren't like, oh, there's so many lost hours of episodes. I mean, the stuff that we don't say on mic anyway is probably best left on the cutting room floor.
Right. As long as you have the old the episodes that we actually have put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just think about all the stuff that we record and just don't publish. But with the Patreon, now we have an excuse to use all that stuff, that quality content.
Yeah. I don't. Plus, a lot of times it's just us talking like in-house stuff. Right. So a lot of times if it's cut for that reason.
That's true.
Recording. Yeah, you're good. I mean, we're technically recording, but
my
dad just got home from work. Get in here because I'm using his room for the recording. Because the messed up room, we've been like cleaning the floors and painting it and stuff like that. So making it functional again.
Gotcha.
So,
well, that's good. I'm glad it's coming along.
Yeah, we're still waiting on more insurance stuff though and all that. So
yeah.
This is how it works, man. With insurance, it's such bullshit.
It really is. Especially, it seems like the bigger the problem, the more of a headache it is with insurance. I remember years ago, not years, like 2 years back, my car got sideswiped in the middle of the night. I remember
that.
Yeah. So it was crazy. Like,
were they drunk?
Was it a surreal. Drunk driver? It was a drunk driver, and the guy basically hit my car, tried to drive off without leaving a note or anything, of course. And he got to the end of the block and just passed out. Like, he was okay. Yeah. He was well enough to get to court to try to defend himself, but it didn't work, obviously. Plus, he was driving someone else's car. So the real victim here is...
Like, did he steal a car, or did he take someone's car?
It was a friend's. It was a friend's car, and I guess I could say...
None of it's any better. It's either way, he smashed up their car.
Yeah, I feel bad for that person. It's like, well, you have poor judgment and character, obviously, but you know, you didn't know. I hope they didn't know that their friend was just going to drive drunk behind the wheel in their car and cause all this damage and mayhem. So the reason I brought it up, insurance took care of it, but
took forever?
It didn't take that long. And I don't know if there's like a huge difference in like car insurance and home insurance. Like, you know, Progressive and all those other people will make you think it's all under the same umbrella, but maybe this is just different.
I think that it depends on this. Like, I don't know. With yours, there was clearly like an arrest record and all that.
Yeah.
But then they're like, is it actually from this rainstorm that we had a couple weeks ago? Like, they get nitpicky with it because they have people trying to scam them.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's both frustrating, but it's also like, oh, it's a real thing that they have to do. It's one of those things. It's like you kind of get screwed over as an honest person.
Yeah.
Because all the bad people are, you know, pulling their bullshit.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. It's like when you go into a convenience store and the clerk is behind like 6 inches of plexiglass because people don't know how to act.
Right.
So
and you're like, this is weird. Awkward, and I have to like, you know, shove the cash underneath the thing and like hope that you get it. But like, I understand why you need to do this.
Shoot, I lived a long time on this earth before I went to a Popeyes that didn't have that little turnstile that you had to, you know, put your money in with a little cup for your change. Like, it had been a long time on this earth.
I'm not gonna lie. I think this is a privilege moment. I don't think I've ever experienced that in that situation. That wasn't like a gas station.
Okay, yeah. Like, that happens there's a KFC by my brother where the plexiglass is so thick, everything just looks like it has just a layer of grease on it. And it probably does because it's a KFC. But it just adds this extra level of just weirdness to it. Like, the chicken is so good, they think you're going to try to, like, take it. So they have to put up this extra layer between you and them.
They're protecting those secret spices.
Yeah, those 7 herbs and spices. You got to watch out. So yeah, it's like that place is kind of weird, and it just gives this air of just a weird type of vibe.
Right,
you know?
it sets you off. Like it's kind of like I mean, even when you go into like banks or whatever, and you see like how guarded it is, you're like, oh no, something could happen.
Yeah,
I think it just triggers that part in your brain that, that's the thing that keeps you alive. But in that scenario, it's more of just like, oh, I feel uneasy right now, and I really want to leave this place.
Exactly. I just want to take my chicken and go.
Yeah. Can I just leave now?
Right. Lord forbid they get it wrong. That's a whole different story. Anyway,
Ugh,
I guess we should officially kick off the episode.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Lex and Matt's Excellent Adventure. I'm Matt Peters, here as always, with Lex Luce.
Hello, everybody.
That's right. I'm done with the whole gimmick of giving you the wacky nicknames. I feel like that's run its course, so we're just...
My favorite part about it is I forget every single week. My goldfish brain goes, oh, God, you're doing that thing again.
So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn through the list right now.
Oh,
so we could just get it over with and never revisit this again. Okay. And they're not all good.
I didn't agree to this ahead of time, but I've never agreed to any of this, so continue.
Even this podcast, you didn't know. I just called you one day and we just started recording. So
Nope. Long gone.
First one, Imperious Lex. Shout out to Namor.
Okay.
Lex Salente. That's kind of, on the nose. Lexecutioner's Song. That's an X-Men miniseries. That
one's kind of good.
I like that.
That's a good album.
That was my favorite. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, if you ever come up with like, a singer-songwriter type of, solo project, Lexecutioner's Song.
Oh, I can't sing. No, thank you.
You don't have to anymore. We'll
That's
get into
true.
That later.
That's true.
Deluxe Apartment in the Sky. Solar Plexus.
I don't know. I don't understand that.
Like solar plexus, but it has Lex in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I told you they're not all gems.
No.
And then last but not least, Felix Unger. Because the odd couple with the thing. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Even though I guess I would be the Felix. No, you'd be the Felix. All right. Yeah, so that works. Awesome.
All right.
So that's the nickname list, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it.
I like how you think you're not going to come up with any more of these. You're going to.
Well, this is the part where I invite the listeners to come up with their own and submit them.
Oh, fuck you.
So, folks, as you submit those, we would also ask you to check out our website, which is lexandmattpod.com. It's got all the information of how you can follow our wacky shenanigans, including links to the show on every possible podcatcher you can imagine, ways to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, information about our Patreon, which is going on right now.
Right now. Yeah,
right,
it's a rolling thing.
Yeah, I don't know why I sold that so much. But yeah, there's stuff on there about the Patreon. Patreon is a place where you can go and support us. If you love our show, drop us a little tip in there. It's just a monthly thing. You can get things like a mug and a sticker and all kind of great stuff like bonus content that nobody else gets to hear but you and other patrons like you. So check all that out.
And by the time you hear this, there should be another one up there.
Oh, there will be another one.
The first one's free. we made the first taste free.
That's right.
And so you can go check that out. There's some previews on there. There's some stuff that's like hidden. You have to become a patron. But if you do $5 and up, you get the bonus content.
That's right. Bonus content, like little mini episodes that Lex and I record that may not fit within the confines of our usual show. We've got Resnaculous content coming up soon with D and I. If you know the Resnaculous stuff, you know how fun that's going to be. And
my favorite part about that is I don't have to do anything.
That's right. You may get vlogs from Lex from time to time. We're still discussing it.
I was just say, I'm assuming that at some point I will chime in with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys never know. You gotta get on that Patreon to find out.
That's right. So speaking of mugs, what are you drinking tonight, Lex?
I am drinking ice water.
Whoa.
I have like a sore, like a canker sore or whatever in my, like on my cheek, in my mouth.
Oh.
And so I'm like, I just want water, please.
Man, it's always painful, like when you bite the inside of your mouth or something like that. And I don't want people to turn off the show, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But it feels like, oh man, I'm like part cannibal right now. This sucks. It's not good.
It's that I bit it earlier. Like I felt, I think I did it first yesterday. Because you know how you bite your lip or whatever, you keep doing it.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it was like, oh, I did it, and then I did it again earlier, and it was like really bad. Mm-hmm. Where I'm like, I taste pennies. Oh God. Like, yeah.
God. Yeah, no, that's not good. Man, the worst thing is when you smell random toast in your office and you don't know if anybody else smells it, so you have to check in with folks. Like, that happened to me today. It was like 2 in the afternoon. Not a usual time to smell toast in the air. So I had to ask my coworkers, like, is somebody making toast? Like, yes, we're making toast. Who was making toast at 2 p.m.? Why would you do that? That's a weird time to make toast.
Toast is always good, man.
Yeah, you're right about that. I can't do that. Toast is always good. Toast is always on time. So, I'm drinking honey ginger lemon tea.
Oh, tea.
That's I'm using my my Death Star tea diffuser, which is why you hear all that clanking on my end, because it's just metal.
Hold on. Wait.
Yes.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna get obnoxious.
There we go.
What kind of tea is it again?
Honey ginger lemon tea. It's loose tea that I put in the Death Star diffuser.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Then it's all herbals. Okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say, why are you still brewing it?
Oh.
All right.
I'm not a tea snob. If it tastes good, I just drink it. It's hot.
Okay. Well, with that, with a lot of herbals, you can keep them in.
Okay.
But like, you know how if you watch like people, they put like the tea bag in and they leave it in?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That just makes it bitter.
Really?
You're supposed to time it. You time it.
Okay.
You have to get proper temp and proper time.
See,
if you Google tea timing, there's a chart that you can do. Now I have a kettle that does all of the temps, and it's labeled like green, white, herbal, like it has all of that labeled on there.
Oh, that's dope. I have a tea kettle that just like turns blue.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun too. I like that.
I spent I didn't spend $100. It's $100 tea kettle. I spent less, but like it's lasted me for like 3 years now. And Allie was the one who talked me into it. And she's had hers for over 5-6 years, and she's just now getting to the point where she has to replace it. And she drinks like 5 or 6 cups of tea at least a day, I think. So I'm a 1 or 2 person.
I see. Yeah.
I usually don't drink that many.
I used to drink a lot of tea. I used to drink so much green tea that I used to I would sweat green tea almost. Like it was just all the time, because I didn't drink coffee at all. And tea was like my go-to, but then I discovered the joy of coffee and everything changed.
I'm a primarily tea person, and like I'm a 1 latte a week maybe kind of person.
Yeah.
I even need to reduce that though. I'm trying to reduce sugar overall because I'm just it makes me like feel like crap. And
that come down after the sugar high.
Yep. Exactly. Let me go pass out now.
I'm trying to reduce sugar too, so I found some sugar-free jam that I've been eating, and it's actually very good. I know a lot of people have issues with consistency when it comes to that sort of thing, but I don't mind it. It actually spreads better on bread. So, man,
I don't worry about that. I worry about the sugar-free. Did you ever read the gummy bears sugar-free thing? Oh my God, dude. There is so this is all right. I'm going to make note of this so that I post it later.
Okay.
There is a gummy bear. If anyone hasn't read this, there is a gummy bears sugar-free, reviews on Amazon. And basically, so this is always my concern because I read this. Now, you will cry from laughing reading this. At least I did. I don't know. So basically, one of the big companies that makes gummy bears made sugar-free gummy bears, and people bought them on Amazon, and then they left their reviews, and whatever they put in that sugar-free, now apparently they don't do this as much now because of this problem, but it made them incredibly, incredibly sick.
Oh no.
very, very ill. Everyone who had them was extremely ill.
Oh.
But what happened was people were writing stories and intricate things, and it's one of the best Amazon pages I've seen out there. So I will, when we post the episode, so what I've been doing now is I've been posting the episode on all of our social medias. Okay. Then I share it into our Facebook group. Now the Facebook group is through Patreon only, $1. Even if you just give $1, it's our way of saying thank you.
Yes.
And that's the exclusive Patreon page. You only get in there if you're anyway, there's a link to it. You can find it at the top of our Facebook page. I pinned it to the top so that you can easily find it if you become a Patreon member.
Right on.
But I basically have to make sure that you've done that. So I've been doing that, and then I post like the links, any links that we come up with. So like Wall of Weird stuff, to properly, give credit to the writers who have written these articles and everything like that.
For sure.
So what I will do is I will post the Gummy Bears sugar-free review Amazon page on this episode, when I post all of the links in there, because it is so funny. So that's always my concern with the sugar-free jams and stuff like that. When I see that, I'm like, oh no, is that going to be a Gummy Bears situation?
Yeah, because a lot of that sugar-free stuff too, you do have to be careful because
they put weird chemicals in it.
Not only that, but it kind of acts as an expectorant. So if you've got somewhere to go, you might want to not do that. You might not want to try it.
Yeah,
in those situations. Exactly. I'll just say that.
No, that's it. That's exactly what the whole review is about.
Okay, all right.
It's eat gummy bears or shit your pants. That is the entire review. It is so funny. It's so funny.
It reminds me of the 90s when everybody was crazy about Alestra.
Yes.
For a hot second, and then folks started going, hey, this is great and all, but does anybody else have this problem? I can't seem to stop pooping. And everyone else is like, oh, shit, son.
Remember when the term anal leakage was in the zeitgeist.
When it permeated our zeitgeist.
I remember being a kid. I remember being a kid and asking my dad, I'm like, what's happening here? Why are people talking about this thing? And he's like, don't worry, you're not eating that crap.
Oh, God. It was so funny, too, because I remember, Access Hollywood and Entertainment Tonight. Everybody's crazy about Alestra. Come on down. Get you a heaping handful. You won't get fat. It takes all the fat away. Eat all the Pringles you want, motherfucker. It's great. Tastes good, too. And then everyone's like, okay, yeah, well, we're not gaining weight because we're literally just expelling everything out of our system immediately.
It was those Wow chips.
Wow.
Those Wow chips.
Wow.
All of them. That was the name of a brand, right? I'm not misremembering that. Yeah, I think it was.
I know when I go to the Korean markets, they have something called Yes Chips, and I'm like,
yes, please.
It's answering a question no one asked, but I'm still here for it. That's fine. So,
I'm Googling Wow chips. Yes, Lay's. Made by Lay's. Yeah. Wow chips. Wow. These look like they're from the 90s.
Yes, they do.
And they were all made with... There are charts about what's wrong with Wow chips.
Man, they really... They made it so important, too. You gotta eat Alestra. It's good for you. This is a new thing.
Oh, yeah. Remember when they said smoking was good for us, too?
And eggs just keep going back and forth. Cholesterol's good.
Yeah.
Bad. Eat the yolk. Don't eat the yolk. Only eat the yolk,
They do the same thing with wine, with chocolate, with all that stuff. I think at the end of the day, it's just don't overdo it.
Right.
And if your doctor says lay off of it or have more of it, then you probably should listen.
Well, that's just it. Even I discussed a couple episodes ago, no matter how well you think you're taking care of yourself, you need to check in with your doctor every now and then. It's just good for you. And, new findings, new information may become available depending on, how up to date your doctor is. I mean, if you get a doctor you can trust, that's the best thing in the world.
It's more helpful when you have health insurance.
Yeah, that is true.
Which I don't. Okay. Let's see. You just want to live in the silence?
I do.
That's so weird. Okay. All right, so Arturo wrote to us.
Yes, he did. So last week we had our E3 episode where we discussed all of our favorite video games and everything, and Arturo was kind enough to write in last week, and he followed up this week.
Yes.
But so this has nothing to do with that, actually.
No. It's okay. It's okay. So this was... Well, did you talk about that last episode, or was the episode before that?
It was the episode before. We didn't talk about this last episode, so forget everything I just said.
We get tangent-y... Well, he contributed either way.
He did.
He's cool.
He is cool.
Okay, so this is mainly, I think, addressed to you, because I have not seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but this is in reference to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which Arturo is a fan of.
Yeah.
All right. He said, "Hey guys, just had difference of opinions about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really like the show. It's one of my favorites. The show starts off really slow, and I think Matt pointed it out that it picked up at the same time as Winter Soldier, and that's when the show really took off. As the show progressed, it started to branch away a little bit from the MCU movies themselves. It started to become its own thing, and the seasons got progressively better. They introduced the Inhumans, which spun off into its own Inhumans series. Sadly, that didn't do well, but I watched that one too. My favorite season was when they brought... Okay, so this is a spoiler alert. Now, should I read that, Matt, or should I not?
I think this is a fair... I think we can read this in fairness because this was a big part of the advertising for that season, so that's not that huge a spoiler.
Okay, and it's not like just this most recent season, is it?
Exactly. No, this is a couple seasons back.
Okay. Yeah. Then I consider it to be fair game. Mm-hmm. All right. My favorite season was when they brought Ghost Rider and the LMDs, life model decoys. Mm-hmm. I think people brushed it off because it started to go away from what was happening in the MCU, but overall the writing is amazing. They have a great cast, and it's a little bit different from what everybody is used to with the MCU movies. I'm kind of how you describe Kevin Smith as far as being optimistic about seeing movies and shows, even when it comes to the last season of Game of Thrones, which is an entirely different in itself as far as having a discussion about. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Arturo, for writing in. I just want to respond to that a little bit. So
yeah. And I'm curious about the Game of Thrones one in the future. We're going to talk about that in the future, bud. But, go.
I was incredibly optimistic about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it began, as I think everybody was, because this was supposed to be like, all right, this is tying in to the Marvel movies. This is going to bring in characters that we're not going to see on the big screen because they just don't have enough time and, the bandwidth to deal with them all. And we found out we were wrong about that in a couple ways. One, the MCU kicked major ass. And two, we didn't get as many characters as we thought we would on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But agreeing with Arturo, they did the best with what they had. And I think I even mentioned on the episode a little bit, they're working without direction from the movie branch of Marvel. It's kind of weird, the divide between TV and movie when it comes to Marvel in a lot of different ways. Sometimes they sync up, like with the Winter Soldier. When that was coming out, they had a little bit of that going on in there. But then they're getting farther and farther away from Feige at this point. And
right, but isn't that a good thing for the originality of the show?
In a way,
and the way it flows?
In a way.
I don't know.
But it's always kind of like you know what? I can almost say it's orbiting around the MCU, almost like a moon. Because it seems like they're just kind of hanging their hat on the idea that the MCU might come a-knocking again, and they don't want to go too off in order to make themselves too unreachable. The season with Ghost Rider was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, because of budgetary reasons, they had to cut his appearances short because, it's a man whose head is on fire.
Yeah.
And that rides a flaming motorcycle or a flaming muscle car, depending on the version. We got the muscle car version this time around, which is kind of dope.
God, I don't give a shit about Ghost Rider. I'm sorry.
You know what? Normally I don't either. But
they did it well?
This version of Ghost Rider was kind of fun. This iteration of Ghost Rider is the most recent one from the comics where... I think his name is Robbie Reyes. He has a little brother who is in a wheelchair, and he's basically possessed by Ghost Rider. Robbie is.
Cool.
And it's his mission to kind of just fulfill, the vengeance of Ghost Rider and keep that at bay while trying to take care of his little brother. And they fleshed out this character so well on the show. It's like, yes, I want a Ghost Rider spinoff. But it seemed...
That's going to be way too expensive.
Right. So they did what they could with the character while involving the agents and everything like that. Everybody loves Coulson. Coulson's great. And we got some Asian American actresses on the same show that normally wouldn't get a chance to share screen time together. I mean, Ming-Na Wen is just a treasure, you know, so you can't go wrong with her.
Yeah.
Chloe Bennett, I mean, she really shined on this show as well. I mean, it's still going on, so I'm speaking like it's in past tense.
Right. Yeah, it is coming back.
But
for,
it's
what, 7? 6? Something like that?
I think either 7 or 6.5. But it's amazing how this grew out of an idea.
It kills me a little bit that, like, we only got 3 seasons of Daredevil.
Yeah. And he mentions Inhumans in here, too. Like, that's the thing with Inhumans. That's where that suffered as well, because that was supposed to be their next project that kind of coexisted on TV and at the movies. They had the first 2 episodes available to be seen at IMAX theaters at one point on the big screen because it's supposed to be this big budget project.
Yeah.
But then they kind of gave that up and it just aired on ABC. And, you know, their budget got cut too. So on the first 2 episodes of that, I mean, can't really call it spoilers at this point. Medusa, with the super long hair, got a haircut. So she got her head
cut off
shaved.
from snakes.
Yeah. So they didn't have to animate that for a little while.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was very strange, the choices that they made with that. Inhumans is a hard sell anyway, because one of the main characters doesn't speak, or if he speaks, people die. So, you know, it's just kind of...
I think that... Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that we need to start embracing... Because I was thinking about this earlier when I saw that, like, Jessica Jones is out, the 3rd season.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it. I haven't even watched the 2nd season. I realized that.
Oh.
And I loved the 1st season. I was like, this is the best Marvel show. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. That was that good stretch of time where every Marvel show that came out was like, okay, now this is the best Marvel show. No, this one's the best Marvel. Yeah. And then season 2 happened.
So I think that we need... So I was thinking about it. I was like, why don't I care to go back to Jessica Jones for another season? Why I feel this way and that way about some of these... And I came to the conclusion that Jessica Jones should have been just a miniseries. It should have ended at that end of that 1st season, and that's why I have no desire to go back. Whereas Daredevil, I do feel like supports multiple seasons. So I think that there has to be this... We're going to have to start embracing miniseries, and I think we are overall.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have to embrace it a little bit more, especially with these bigger budget shows. Like, we can't... You know, it's awesome that we have a, you know, Supergirl TV show, Flash TV show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This and that. Well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is mostly humans, but from what I know about it. But, you know, some of these we're going to have to settle for, like, maybe just a season, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe just a longer movie rather than, you know, let's have it run for 8 seasons or whatever.
Yeah, I think that was one of the missteps that Netflix made as well when they had a set number of episodes for each series that was very similar. They wanted to fill out hours instead of, you know, letting the story dictate how long it went. I mean, with a lot of these shows, the complaint was, all right, well, they solved their problem in the first 6 episodes, and now what are they going to do? I know as much as I love Luke Cage, that second half of the first season just kind of trudged along, and it seemed out of place. It seemed underdeveloped.
Yeah, I never finished it because of that.
Yeah, and I mean, I did, but I'll be honest, I was looking at my phone for a lot of it. The music is dope, though, so the music really kept me on. Oh, good news about Ghost Rider, though. Gabrielle Luna is going to star in Marvel, in a Marvel series going straight to Hulu. So this is the same actor that played him on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it seems like this is going to be a tie-in.
They are going to make it a thing.
So they got that Hulu money going now. So Disney's really beefing up their streaming offerings now because of Disney Plus, of course. So I think this is a result of that. Yeah,
because they're going to end up integrating Hulu and Disney Plus. They're going to be like, you know, get Disney Plus and add Hulu on for $5 or something like that since they bought it out. Like, that's just what's going to happen, you know?
Right. But no, This guy, Gabriel Luna, kicked ass as Ghost Rider, though. I mean, with that chain and everything, it was dope. It was cool just seeing that, at least.
Gabriel Luna, that name sounds familiar.
This is a far cry from Nicolas Cage, for sure. It looks like he's been in True Detective, Wicked City, and Matador.
Okay, no. I think his name just sounded familiar. I don't know if this guy is.
I've never seen any of those, so that's fine.
I know who I was getting confused with, just the name, because it's the last name's the same as Diego Luna.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which was he was in Rogue One and
yes,
yeah,
great acting.
That's what I was getting. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's really all I have to say about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I still watch it, just out of habit, really, but. Yeah, right now I kind of like it more than wrestling. I'll say that. That's a good compliment. For me, anyway.
Is it a summer show or is it on like regular?
It's one of those that kind of like, teeters on the edge there. So it's kind of a summer show. I'll say that. Yeah. And they used to split seasons with Agent Carter too. They kind of stack the deck against Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. all the time.
I know.
It's like, okay, we're going to take turns now with Agent Carter. Okay, Agent Carter didn't work. Well, you guys got to do extra episodes now. Oh, there's another writer's strike looming. Okay, well, wrap it up. Hurry up.
God, they do this so much with certain things. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, and something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that should be a big deal for Marvel. They just treat it like, the unloved, they just don't treat it right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks for writing in, Arturo.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, so Gabriella also wrote in, and I'll cover this kind of quickly, because we've been having the discussion about Brendan Fraser a lot.
Yeah.
How we love Brendan Fraser. And we're like, where did he go? Why this? So he apparently was another victim of sexual harassment. And he's not involved with the Me Too movement, but he was a man who was groped by another male in 2003. And there was internal investigations and, there was a lot to it. But basically he was violated and it sounds like his career suffered because he tried to do something about it.
Yeah. And he, I guess he just recently really started talking about this too.
Yeah.
Like the story that we were sent by Gabriella was from 2018. So, yeah. I mean, that's one thing, I'm glad that we live in a time where men feel more comfortable sharing these type of stories, like Terry Crews,
Yeah.
Because we need to shine a light on this sort of thing. It's a shame that it happens to anyone. Yeah.
It's abuse is abuse. I mean, we've talked about this extensively.
And unfortunately, sexism is a thing too. So solidarity like this is going to help bring attention to what's going on.
I hope so. I've heard the argument that the women's claims are not taken as seriously as men's. Like the Kevin Spacey versus, Max Landis is a good example of his stuff today, because that's not the first time that story came out.
Right.
But I don't think so. I think that when you help one, you help all kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I believe that as long as we stick together and we go, you're with us, we're with you, we hear you, we believe you, we support you, to everyone across the board, and we take it seriously, basically, then I think that it's just going to help everyone.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, Max Landis is the abuser that's being accused in these cases too.
Yes. When she sent me the Brendan Fraser thing, I was like, oh, fuck.
Right.
I thought that he had done something. He didn't. He was abused. Max Landis is the son of John Landis. Yeah. John Landis is the man who was responsible for killing multiple people on one of his film sets.
Jesus.
Do you not know about that?
I've heard about that, but it was said in such a flippant manner on Twitter, of course, but it was just said in passing. I'm like, all right, this might be something that's kind of trumped up, or it might be.
No, it's bad.
Wow.
It's pretty. I mean, it's severe. I mean, he ended up getting away with like manslaughter or something like that. But it's severe negligence and an unsafe set, and it changed laws in film. Wow. There's a whole book about it. I actually was just on Twitter earlier because this one guy that I follow on there, he's trying to